Hello everybody, it's Hilary Connor here with a cold and sore throat. But anyways, look, I want to come on and do this video here today because there seems to be a theme going on. I don't know whether it's only going on this week or it's more prevalent this week, but I certainly know it's going on all the time. And it's it's getting an awful lot of people down. And that's why I want to address it. And the theme is really when it's kind of the wrong side of competition. And when other people who are also in similar businesses to your business, either implicitly or explicitly run your business down to make their business look better. Now, if you ask me, that's cat. It really is. And because you, like them, are just somebody out there trying to do your best, working hard, doing everything as best that you can, and learning all that you can, and doing everything as right as you can, if you like, to be the best that you can be. And like, even back when I did readings, like going back to the very, very early days, when I was only like 2-3 years up and running, I remember I had an angel shop in Enniscorthy, and I did the readings at the back, and people used to come into me and say, "Oh my God, did you see so and so's after setting up down the road doing readings from you? You're worried," And even back then, I remember thinking, "No, I'm not in the least bit worried," and I used to think fair play to them, and the reason why is because there's only me, and there's them. And there is enough to go around for everybody. I mean, God knows, call this, I think it's a little bit unfortunate, but it's the world we live in. There's enough people out there to be helped, And the great thing about it is, even now with coaching and with mindfulness, there's infinite potential of growth that we can do as human beings. So there's always going to be enough coaching clients for everybody. There's always going to be enough clients for readers that are out there, and whatever other, let's say you're in a helping industry, out there, and all the, rather than getting worried about somebody moving in down the road or somebody else setting up shop or whatever, celebrate them, but also celebrate yourself too. But instead, what I find is happening is, and it happens, I have a couple of businesses, and it happens across all of the businesses, is that some people feel threatened by your success. So instead of focusing on what they can do better, right, and celebrating you as well as themselves and supporting you as well as themselves, they pick what is not the strongest point in your business and focus on that and put that out there in the public. And most of the time it's done in kind of less obvious ways, that aren't as apparent. But here's the thing: people reading that, they feel it, they see it, they sense it, and being a person in business, trust is a massive thing. Authenticity, coherency, that sense of the connection that people feel with you is something that's not to be underestimated. But it's like some people, through their own fear, don't see that. Now, that's their business. Earlier this week, I posted something on Facebook, something like, if somebody triggers you, that's your address, right? But if they do something deliberately to trigger you, that's for them to look at, And what I mean by that is, if somebody does something that's kind of, let's say a competitor does something that's, it triggers you, and it gets you annoyed and upset and angry, right? That's something that you've got to address. Because if you knew, she says, right? Now, I'm guilty of this myself. This is why I'm saying it. If their behavior is triggering you, well, then that's something, it's an opportunity, as opposed to it being, a very unpleasant experience, which it does feel like at the time. It's actually triggering something in you that you need to look at, that's telling you, I'm not enough, or I'm incomplete, or I'm not good enough, I need to do more. And the great benefit in a situation like that is that it gets us to look inward and reflect. And within that reflection, remind us, and this is the key thing, what am I about? Who am I? What am I grounded in? Who am I? And what am I grounded in? And you can pick 3 words, right? And with those 3 words, and with even asking those questions, what you'll be reminded of is, I have worked incredibly hard. I've done so diligently. I've done so honestly. I have done so conscientiously. I've always done my very, very best over whatever period of time it is to be putting the best that I have out there forward. Being that to help people in any way. Now, this doesn't matter if, regardless of whether you're a coach, regardless of whether you run an ice cream shop, regardless of whether, you, like me, run an Airbnb as well. It doesn't matter what you do, but it's like I've worked diligently and conscientiously and tirelessly to put out the very, very best of what I have. And you've got to own that. That's of huge value. That's of huge worth. And that's something that you've got to own. As opposed to when somebody comes along and says something, that's great about their business, knowing that is, something that you don't have to offer, right? Rather than getting tangled up and lost in the insecurity of that and the annoyance and the anger of what they're after doing, But also asking that question, I can't remember the exact question I asked there, but basically what you're really asking is, what do I stand for? Who am I and what do I stand for? By asking that question and going into it, it's going to do 3 things. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to take you out of that cycle of rumination that you'll fall into, right? Of, just being annoyed, and if they did this and if they did that, and well, blah, blah. We all know these kind of conversations that go on in our head about conversations that are actually never going to take place really in reality, But in those moments, it's getting us stuck in this, state of rumination. Needlessly, it serves 0 purpose, absolutely none whatsoever. So it's going to take you out of that state of rumination. The second thing it's going to do is it's going to support you to respond more skillfully to what's going on. So I'm thinking, there was actually a situation earlier this week, and this is probably why I'm in touch with it as well this week. There was a situation where somebody put something out on Facebook, and it was awful. It was clearly talking about my business, and they said something that I just can't compete with, but I don't need to compete with it. And I went into the rumination, and I went into, that's awful, and why do people do business like that? Why can't we all support each other? And yeah, well, if I see her again, I'm not going to, I did go into all of that talk. But coming out of it and asking, hang on a second, Hilary, what are you standing for here? As I was saying, all of those, snapshots and memories and instances and moments of when I have been focused on being able to give the very, very best that I have to my customers, to my guests, to my clients, and really being loyal to that and them all of the time, all came to the fore, and I was able to sit in ownership of that. And because of that, I was able to then, well, okay, what are you going to do now? I didn't feel as powerless, if you like, anymore in that ruminative state. And I was able to say, well, what am I going to do now? I was able to, which brings me on to number 3, respond more skillfully and let it go. And that's number 3. You're able to let it go. Let go of, well, I can't control that. I can't control. I'm living, I'm learning, I'm seeing what they're like. They're showing me what they're like. But now I can let it go. And I can get back to, being me and doing what I do best without the heaviness of the ifs, buts and what ifs hanging over, you know. And it's, yeah, I see it happen to me this week, but I also see it happening to an awful lot of clients as well. And people get so stuck in this. You know, I was able to come out of it in a matter of within a half an hour, I suppose. You know, but people get stuck in this, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. So therefore, people get quite disillusioned with life and with business and with all of that. And it's the dark side of competition. It's the horrible side of competition. And here's another thing, you know, remember this as well. It's a real missed opportunity as well, because if those people were to be supportive and celebrative and all of that of each other, right? Well, then we can recommend each other. We can support each other. We can run things by each other, you know, and we can grow together, you know. But I certainly know after a comment like that, when I get booked out, which I usually am, what happens then is I recommend people that I know and that I trust. And that trust was lost there and then, you know, and it won't ever be gained back. So it's their loss. See, do you see what's happening? Do you know? Whereas the light side of competition, as in LIGHT, as in light shining brightly, is it, you know, we can really learn from each other to be better than what we would have been had we been on our own. You know, we can bounce ideas off each other, not to put the other out of business. It's not. It's so as the standards are raised, and we're all doing above and beyond what we thought we were capable of doing. And that, to me, is so much brillianter, if that word, than this horrible, stuck, kind of contractive smallness, you know, that derives out of fear, you know. So with that, it's the 3 points. If somebody is, you know, going on the wrong side of competition, and you find that, you know, oh, I'm taking this personally, this is getting to me, you got to ground back in who you are, what it is that you stand for, own that, right? Value that and own that. Then allow it to pop you out of that rumination state and respond more skillfully to whatever it is that's going on, and let it go and move on. And by doing that, what you're doing then is you're getting back to living in the fullness of this really brilliant gift of life that you're here to live. Okay, see, that is all. Thank you so much for listening.